What is good, YouTube? Warstu here with a video on Spider-Man Far From Home. So we will be talking about spoilers from Spider-Man Far From Home. This video will be posted after the international and global release on the 2nd of July. So we're going to talk non-spoilers for a few moments and then talk about spoilers because there is a lot to break down in this movie. So if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe to never miss any of these videos. And we have started a new giveaway. We're going to be giving away a few Captain Marvel Blu-ray giveaways. It doesn't come out in my country till July the 16th, so the competition won't end till after that date. But this competition is open worldwide, so we're giving away one a week, starting probably in, say, 2 weeks or so. So if you do want to enter that competition, all you got to do is subscribe to the channel and let me know down below what do you freaking think about this movie. So let's get into this video. We're not going to talk in chronological order. We're just going to freestyle it like I freestyle most of my stuff. So if you haven't watched my non-spoiler review, it's a face cam video, which I don't generally do because at the moment, guys, I need to upgrade my computer. And when I use my Sony camera, it just takes about 4 hours to render the video and it just is so long. So let's get into this video. So I went to see this movie early courtesy of Sony UK Pictures. It's really cool for them to invite me out there. But firstly, I have to thank you guys because without the love and the support and realistically without their hate, I wouldn't get invited to attend so many cool events. We've done so many recently. We got to meet Zachary Levi. We got to meet the Shazam director. We got to meet a bunch of people from the Shazam movie. And like we've done so many cool things because of this channel. So firstly, I've got to say thanks to the few people that have supported me. So I really did enjoy this movie to the point where I can strongly say this movie from a storytelling point of view is better than Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame put together. Okay? I know you're going to be like, whoa, Stu, what are you on about? This can't be better than Endgame. Well, to me, it's better than Endgame because it tells the story a lot better. It flows a lot nicer. Now, obviously, the battles in this movie are pretty good, but obviously it does not have the same budget that Avengers 3 and 4 had, so you can't really compare the battles, and obviously the battles can only be as good as the villains. Obviously Mysterio is a badass villain, but he's no Thanos, but he is Thanos in a way of how brilliant Jake Gyllenhaal was in this movie. So from an actor's point of view, there's not really one actor in this movie who didn't nail their role. So as we know, this movie, they travel all over Europe and spend a bunch of time in London, which is so cool to see the Shard and Big Ben, which is pretty cool. It must be cool for Tom Holland because obviously he's from London, he's from UK, so it must be cool to get to shoot in his home city, not hometown, because London is my town. No, London isn't a town, it's a city. So it is pretty cool. They all nailed it. I'm really loving the movement that Sony and the MCU have. Obviously, there must have been a lot of close communication between Sony and MCU because as most people don't know, this movie is licensed and distributed by Sony and Columbia Pictures, but obviously the movie is made, filmed, shot by Marvel Studios. As we know, the deal will be coming to an end after Spider-Man 3, and I think it's clear that Spider-Man is going nowhere. Yes, there is the fake rumor that Tom Holland signed up for another 9 movies to do 9 movies as Spider-Man. Yes, cool, bro, that will happen. Tom Holland is only 23, so yes, I do believe he will have well over 3 solo movies, but I don't believe anything has been agreed yet. Why? Well, because Sony is not at San Diego Comic-Con this year, for one. That really does tell us a lot. No Morbius trailer, no big Spider-Man announcement, unless it's going to be a joint collaboration at the San Diego Comic-Con Hall H, I guess you could say, presentation with Marvel. I don't really think that's going to happen. So let's get into the spoilers for this video. So this movie is insane. It sets up a lot. Now, I did a video saying this movie changes everything in the MCU, and a lot of people are like, Warstu, you're wrong. Well, no. If you watch this movie properly and understand how everything works, this movie does change everything. So it's the epilogue, it's the ending of Marvel Phase 3, the Infinity Saga, and there's so many indirect plot points in this movie that set up things that will be coming into play years down the line. So let's squash this to start off with. So, sorry guys, the multiverse is fake, okay? Mysterio is not from the multiverse at all. You could call this movie the revenge of the Tony Stark employees, because literally every villain in this movie essentially worked for Tony Stark. So it's a story that one of the Tony Stark employees made up. There is a multiverse, as the Ancient One has said it, and obviously Doctor Strange, the Dark Dimension, Astral Plane. There is a multiverse in a sense, but the elementals don't come from the multiverse. The elementals don't even exist. They are just drones that have been computer programmed. Now, what is interesting is there is a nostalgic moment in this movie. Do you remember that BARF, the BARF technology that everyone thought was amazing? Well, it turns out that Tony Stark is a fraud. He is an absolute phony. He is a fake. He is a fraud. So essentially, Jake Gyllenhaal, Mysterio, which means mysterious person or mysterious man, worked for Tony Stark. And he had this technology. He made it. Mysterio, Quentin Beck's character, made it. Tony Stark just robbed it off him. Now, that is a pretty douchebag move. But you got to remember this, I think it was it Civil War or Winter Soldier? I think it was Winter Soldier or Civil War. I can't remember exactly where the BARF technology was used. But they edit a scene very cleverly where you see Quentin Beck, aka Mysterio, in the background. So it turns out that essentially Mysterio does not want Spider-Man to replace Iron Man. He wants to replace Iron Man himself. And he has a lot of help from ex-Tony Stark employees, hence why Spider-Man Far From Home could realistically be called the revenge of the Tony Stark employees who want revenge on everything because they are not happy with how everything went down. So although Tony Stark only appears once in this movie, kind of, we do see the Iron Man in a kind of battle scene, but it's all a massive illusion created from these drones. So it is kind of interesting that there is really no villain in this movie, because ultimately Mysterio without the drones gets absolutely destroyed from Spider-Man. Now, a lot of people don't understand how strong Spider-Man is. Obviously, we don't have the Spider-Man from the comic books in the MCU. It's a completely different version, but Spider-Man is so freaking strong. I just wish they would show how OP he really is for someone who is a young teenager. Well, he's 16 in this, so still a teenager, so he's pretty young, but he is so freaking OP. So no multiverse, so all these Tobey Maguire theories can be thrown out of the window. Although Tom Holland did say he would love to work with Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, who some people do say is the better Spider-Man. Personally, I love all the Spider-Mans, but I would still say Tobey Maguire is the best version for me. I don't know what you guys think. I really do adore Tom Holland. I think he's a pretty cool guy. But still, even though Spider-Man Far From Home is one of my favorite MCU movies, if not the favorite, because it is the combination of everything in Phase 3, everything in the Infinity Saga. It's wrapping everything up, and everything will be different. My main criticism for this movie is I love it, but essentially the villain is he's very good. Tom Holland and Jake Gyllenhaal bounce off each other so freaking much, and there isn't really any criticism for their acting skills. It's just the fact that essentially the villain for this movie is a bunch of drones, which kind of gives you nightmares of Age of Ultron, which was the attack of the robots. And it's kind of like we are in the MCU. There's a lot of cosmic beings they could introduce. Adam Warlock, although Adam Warlock isn't really a villain. A lot of people thought he was going to be included during the Infinity War saga, but that never happened. There's obviously Galactus, there's Doctor Doom. There's so many cosmic crazy beings. I just hope they get away from using AI kind of based villains. And essentially Mysterio was the person that created AI, and essentially it is kind of funny how everyone thinks Tony Stark is really clever. Now, don't get me wrong, he's still clever, but he stole the technology and fired him. And that is why Mysterio doesn't want Spider-Man to be the next Iron Man. He wants to be himself. So essentially there's a program called Edith that is essentially gives you power. It's in the shades, the AI shades that we see in the trailers. That's not a spoiler, but this is the spoiler review anyway, so it doesn't matter. But essentially, these shades give you access to absolutely everything. There's one point in the movie where, by mistake, Peter Parker tries to send a missile to one of his friends that's trying to hook up with MJ because he's jealous, and it's so freaking cool. So these glasses give him full power to everything. So essentially, he gives the glasses to Mysterio because he thinks Mysterio is his friend, and he thinks Tony wanted him to give the glasses to someone, to access to Edith, to someone who he thought deserved it. Then essentially he got screwed over. Then essentially what he did is he outsmarted everything. So there's this little thing called Peter Tingle. Now, I've seen some videos and stuff floating around how Peter Tingle works in the MCU. It's like, bro, if you've seen this movie, there is no spider sense till right at the end of the movie. His spider sense, his Peter Tingle, is not working till the end of the movie. So it's cool explaining how stuff work, but unless you've seen this movie, there is no, I'm not going to call it Peter Tingle, there is no spider sense till towards the end of the movie. So that is very, very interesting. Now, the MJ Spider-Man relationship is still awkwardly cute. I prefer it that way. Now, I know a lot of people will get annoyed. It's probably aimed at teenagers as they are 16, 17 years old-ish, but I would prefer it if they kept it that way because it's so cute. because they're both pretty young in real life, it's good to see, and I really hope that Zendaya is going to stick around in the MCU, and we've made a theory saying, oh my god, she could turn into Gwen Stacy. Probably not going to happen, guys, but a theory is a freaking theory. So that is pretty cool. Obviously, Spider-Man's best friend, Ned, gets a girlfriend for the summer, which is pretty cool, because he's like, yeah, we're going to go to Europe, we're going to be the American bachelors, because all the European girls love the American accents, and he's the one that ends up hooking up with someone he went on holiday with. It is pretty freaking funny, guys. This movie is cool. It's a movie you can take serious, but yet not take serious yet. I could have this movie could have been 30 minutes longer. I think it was something like 2 hours and 9 minutes, which generally means after the credits and everything. This movie could have been 30 minutes longer, and I wouldn't have even got annoyed. This movie was so freaking cool. There was many nostalgic moments. There's many Easter eggs, but we will do a different video for that, because seriously, guys, you've got to watch this movie 2-3 times before you can talk about the Easter eggs. So the post-credit scenes for me are pretty insane. Now, some people don't seem to think the post-credits are that great, but if you are a Tobey Maguire Spider-Man fan or a Sammy Raymond fan, you will really appreciate what they set up. So essentially, what happened was Spider-Man was exposed for being Peter Parker, and Mysterio sent a message to the Daily Bugle, which is kind of like InfoWars, if you know what I mean, like a conspiracy, fake news kind of news outlet publication, you know, like these fake news publications. So something like that. Essentially, they haven't really established it in this universe yet, so it's a bit weird to see it randomly appear. But why everyone was freaking out, because JJJ was played by the famous J.K. Simmons, who essentially played the same role in the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies. That's why a lot of people thought it's nostalgic. Now, I'm more interested in, how did Mysterio send it to the Daily Bugle before he died? And he made it look like Peter Parker killed him, which essentially, he didn't kill him. So it can go either two ways. Peter Parker owns it, and he is Spider-Man, and then his friend Flash, who's obsessed with Spider-Man, and Spider-Man now looks at Flash's Instagram account and he fanboyed out of it. That's pretty funny. So essentially, one way he can own it, or they can have S.H.I.E.L.D. just cover it up and make out he's not. It wouldn't be that hard, but it'd be going to be very interesting to see where it's actually going. Now, I wouldn't really say there's any plot holes in this movie, except for maybe one. So we find out in the final post-credit scene, that was the mid-credit scene, that essentially Talos and his wife were pretending to be Nick Fury and Maria Hill. But at the start of the minute of the movie, you would have seen them talking to each other like they were Nick Fury and Maria Hill. So there's either two scenarios. Either that was the real Nick Fury and Maria Hill then, you with me? But then in the post-credit scene, it was Talos and his wife the whole time. The reason they didn't invoke any of the Avengers is because they don't know any of the Avengers. If you remember in the trailer, when Spider-Man was saying, what about Captain Marvel? And then Nick Fury is like, don't invoke a name. So either she's off on a mission, she's been killed, or something like that, or obviously that would have been the Skrull then. So it is very interesting. And then we do see the real Nick Fury on a mission, but he's using some kind of technology that makes him look like he's on a holiday. And then we see a lot of the Skrulls. So they are literally saying, hello guys, a secret invasion, secret Skrulls are coming at some point. So there is a lot of kind of setup for future MCU movies. I've seen a lot of people, I've watched some reviews, obviously I've seen it on Thursday night. So the general outlook of this movie is, it is pretty good. Now, there is a lot of negativity from people who haven't even seen the movie, which is ridiculous. I really don't understand how someone can hate on something they've not even seen. Now, the third act for this movie is one of the best third acts ever. Now, I would say this movie is hands down better than Civil War, but I don't rate Civil War, so that's not really saying a lot. I'd put this as one of my favorite comic book movies ever. I'd put it up there with Logan. Now, you guys know me. I don't pander to anyone. I wasn't really overly impressed with the Endgame. I felt like Endgame would have been 100 times better. I felt like they toned it down too much, to the point where the threat didn't even feel like much of a threat, because realistically, if you nail Infinity War, nail Endgame, there isn't really that much that happens in between it. So this movie for me was freaking fantastic. I cannot recommend that you go and watch it on the 2nd of July, or I think it comes out on the 3rd of July in some countries. It comes out here in UK on Tuesday. So make sure you go check it out. Please comment down below, share this video. Like you guys, I might have a YouTube channel, but I am still a fan at heart. And I really appreciated what they did for Spider-Man in this movie. I just hope they can move on. Move on. So essentially, the idea is Spider-Man needs to move on. He needs to kind of get out of Tony Stark's shadow become his own hero, become his own entity, which he can do. It's very, very interesting. Like I said, the way it ends with MJ looking and Spider-Man's like, oh shit, and then that is pretty funny. It's like, is MJ thinking, did Spider-Man really kill Mysterio? No, he didn't. And I've also got the Tony Stark shades. I was sending them out today. If you look at my Instagram stories at Warstu, yeah, we've got the Tony Stark shades. Look, it looks pretty cool. So if you follow me over there, that will be pretty cool. I will keep you up to date with all the latest and greatest comic book stuff over there. And if you want to get to know me as a person, as a creator, that's more for personal stuff, but I do post a lot of comic book stuff. We do have the Warstu Vlogs channel, and that is pretty cool. So maybe subscribe to that if you could, guys. I will be posting a video on that, a new video very soon, but that will be more about me. So I cannot say enough about how much I love this movie. I could go as far to say it is my favorite Spider-Man movie ever, but I haven't watched Spider-Man 2 with Tobey Maguire in such a long time. I just hope one day they can introduce the multiverse properly. Because yes, they did invoke the multiverse, but Mysterio is not from the multiverse. So I just can't say enough about this movie, guys. There's so many freaking Easter eggs. You literally see a plethora of different Spider-Man suits. And no, let's debunk. I debunked it on the other one. There is no UK Spider-Man suit. There's some theories going out there which I find disrespectful, being from the UK and people saying, oh, the UK Spider-Man suit is in this movie. No, it's freaking not. If it is in the movie, Spider-Man doesn't even put it on. So it doesn't really count unless he puts it on. So it is, and there's so many like nostalgic moments throughout this whole movie. It is just fantastic, guys. So please go and check it out. If you haven't watched it yet, come back after you've watched this. I really want these review videos to start doing better because I'm going to be posting a lot more reviews. I always review every single comic book movie that we watch. It's pretty cool. So we haven't really got any more comic book movies for the rest of the year until the Joaquin Phoenix DC Warner Bros. Media at the end of the year in October. So if you could, please like, subscribe and comment at the 100,000 subscriber mark if we ever make it there. We will be giving away a PS4 Pro or an Xbox One X, or if it takes us that long, a PS5 or the new Xbox, which is currently called the Xbox Zinfandel, I think. So that would be pretty cool, guys. Just subscribe to the channel, support the channel. That would be much appreciated. We've already given away the Spider-Man Far From Home ticket, so if you did win, well done to you. And the next competition will be for Captain Marvel Blu-ray or DVD, whichever platform you want, or even 4K, whichever platform of Captain Marvel you want, we can give that away. So just follow the rules at the start of the video and that would be cool. So like always, guys, please like, subscribe and comment, and I will catch you in another video very soon. Catch ya later.